Most unique show in sports.
I'm going to say something now that some may take as a hot take, and I don't really care because I know that I'm right.
A show so staggeringly awesome and unapologetically original, you won't know what hit you.
Do you ever just get down on your knees and thank God that you know me and have access to my dementia?
Featuring the man himself, Nick Kostos.
For anyone else who says, oh, he's exaggerating, he's prisoner of the moment. First off, shut up. This is the National Football League. This is not the Big 12. It's not Pop Warner. An absolute disgrace. An atrocity. An affront. One of the most disgraceful performances that I have ever seen in 35 years watching National Football League football.
This is You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
What's up, everybody? Happy and merry, terrific Football Tuesday to you and yours. This is You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports, as we bring you the fastest show in all of sports. The show presented today and always by BetMGM. Make it legendary by downloading the BetMGM app and visiting BetMGM.com. And on this terrific Football Tuesday morning, the world of sports is buzzing. And we're going to get to all the big stories, including a very Cleveland coaching search. I always say here to you, our listeners, to you, our viewers, I'm here to do the work, so you don't have to. You show up as sports fans. You're looking to be informed and entertained. I am assimilating the information. I am delivering said information, hopefully in an entertaining way. I'm here to do the work, so you don't have to do the work. You got enough stuff going on in your life. Let me handle the heavy lifting. So today on the show, I am going to attempt to answer a question. The answer of this question has eluded sports fans, world leaders, scientists, everybody, for almost 4 decades. That question, what the hell are the Cleveland Browns doing? I'll try to answer that question in their coaching search coming up later this hour on this Tuesday morning. We're also going to talk a bunch of hoops on the show today. We told you yesterday, I feel like the Monday after Championship Sunday in the NFL begins college basketball season. And we had a couple bangers last night in college basketball, at least on paper. Duke destroys Louisville. Arizona almost blows it against BYU, and Arizona holds on to win at the end. I'm going to give you takes off of both of those games. I can't wait to talk about both of those games. And I'm going to tell everybody, there's a team right now in college basketball that I feel like people are sleeping on right now. And when I say the team, you're all going to be shocked. And you're all going to, because you can't disagree with me. I mean, people will try to disagree with me, and there's a way you could, and I'm going to debunk that over the course of my argument. You're going to be shocked by what I say, and I will force you to agree with me. I feel like I say that to my wife sometimes, and it never works. So maybe I won't force you to agree with me. I guess you have free will. You can do whatever the hell you want. 2 tremendous guests will join us on this Tuesday. How about legendary play-by-play man, friend of the show, the great Ian Eagle will join us coming up 60 minutes from now. Ian Eagle joining You Better You Bet. Always love when Ian Eagle joins the show. And returning to You Better You Bet, fan favorite of NBC Sports, the legendary John Fanta, talking college hoops and his beloved Cleveland Browns. John Fanta coming up next hour here on You Better You Bet. And we will close the show with all our bets for tonight in the world of sports. And again, just to reiterate this, because you may be still in a football mind, and I always am in a football mind. Football's my favorite. The NFL's my favorite. But again, now that football is done, we can turn our attention to hoops in a big way. We have some awesome college basketball games tonight, headlined by Michigan, a 10.5-point home favorite over undefeated Nebraska. Very interesting point spread. We'll talk about that game at the end of the show. We will talk about Purdue skidding right now, the Boilermakers are, visiting Assembly Hall as a road favorite at Indiana. Vanderbilt hosting Kentucky. We got some great games tonight in college basketball. We will get to them. And how about the Pistons at the Nuggets in the NBA? Oh, baby. Basketball on a Tuesday. We absolutely love it. The phone number, 310-840-4910, 310-840-4910. And shout out to everybody in the YouTube chat, youtube.com/@thekostos. Follow the show there. Subscribe to the show, youtube.com/@thekostos. And if you are listening on Sirius XM 375, on the Odyssey app, on the Westwood One app, watching on Twitch, to quote the great Bruce Pritchard, as Brother Love once upon a time, I love you. Thank you very much. But we officially begin today the terrific Football Tuesday edition of You Better You Bet in super fashion. Now look, we've got 12 days in between now and Super Bowl 60 coming up in Santa Clara. Bill Zimmerman and yours truly are flying out to the Bay Area this Sunday. We will be doing shows all week next week on Radio Row. A-level guests the entire week. The conversation's going to be awesome. I think people really like the Super Bowl shows we've done in the past on Radio Row. I think we are taking it to another level this year with our collaboration and our partnership with Westwood One Sports. So can't wait for that all week next week from Radio Row in San Francisco in the Bay Area. So we will get to the handicaps of the game. Seahawks offense versus Patriots defense. Vice versa. Patriots offense versus Seahawks defense. The coaching matchup. The X factors. All the on-field handicaps and the bets. We will not shortchange you. We're going to do all of it. We got a lot of time in between now and the game. We will get all of it in with the best guests, period. And at BetMGM right now, the side and total market, Seattle, 4.5, total 46, the same as when we bid you adieu on Monday's edition of the show. So what I want to do today, we'll probably do it tomorrow also. There are some big overarching storylines coming out of Super Bowl 60. Some really, really juicy storylines that if you're a sports fan, I'm guessing you are, welcome to the show, that you will be into these storylines because how could you not be? It feels crazy to say this, but it's the truth. I would encourage anyone to try and disagree with it. The biggest story in Super Bowl 60, the biggest star entering the game is Sam Darnold. Can we just take a pause here? It's take a breath, take a beat. Do you all, I think you do. I think everybody understands. I'm the one that had to say it. I said it out loud. So I think it carries more weight for me. Do you all understand how insane that is? Not that he's not awesome or he hasn't earned the opportunity. He obviously has. But how bat bleep insane it is that we are here saying 12 days before the Super Bowl that the biggest story entering the game is Sam Darnold. This is like Christopher Nolan's got a new drug. Christopher Nolan's about to cast Oppenheimer. And it comes out that Rob Gronkowski is going to play Oppenheimer. Gronk is going to be the lead of the movie. Gronk nuke Hiroshima. That's going to be the big line in the movie. Rob Gronkowski is the star of Christopher Nolan's new drama. We'd be sitting here going, what? What the hell? What kind of sentence is that? From a sports perspective, think about where Sam Darnold came from. And now we're saying he's the biggest story entering not the wild card round, not the divisional round, not the final Saturday night of the regular season to determine home field advantage, not Championship Sunday. No. Super Bowl Sunday. Sam Darnold. What a sentence. To quote the great Kurt Angle, it's true. It's damn true. It wasn't that long ago that Sam Darnold was a punchline, a laughing stock, a bust. 2019. Let's go back in time. Year one of You Better You Bet. Sam Darnold is the quarterback of the Jets, and Adam Gase is his head coach. Okay? We'll talk about Sam Darnold and his trek getting to the Super Bowl in a few moments here. The Jets are going to play the Browns on Monday Night Football, and Sam Darnold's going to miss the game with mononucleosis, right? Do people remember the ESPN, and I don't mean this as a criticism of ESPN. It's actually one of like the funniest things that's happened in the NFL Twitter era of football Twitter. The graphic that ESPN put up of Sam Darnold from his rookie media day, like pointing at the camera like he's some cheesy character in a Japanese role-playing game, with its out indefinitely mononucleosis. Which I can't even believe that someone clicked send on that. I'm happy they did. But, like, that never should have made the airwaves. It never should have been tweeted out there. But it was. And Sam Darnold in that moment, and I'll just speak for New Yorkers here, and I'm sure it's the case wherever you are in this great country, in this great world. I'm sure it's the case for you in your city, in your town, in your state as well. But here in New York City, it is large, at least as a man, I'll speak from the man perspective, from the male perspective. It is generally, when you're of a young age, right? It is generally celebrated when you hook up. It's like, oh, what'd you do last night? Oh, hooked up, got laid. Awesome. How was it? Oh, like you're the man. Great job. Sam Darnold, I think, in 2019 became the first New Yorker in the history of New Yorkers to hook up and get action and get made fun of as a result with the kissing disease. That literally has never happened before. Never. And for you in your life, like when you were that young, someone tells you, oh, hooked up. Yeah, made out with this hot chick last night. Whatever. Ugly chick, slump buster, whatever. No one's going to be like, ha, loser. Let's mock him. That's not how life works. But when you're the quarterback of the Jets and you're in this media market and you've got that stupid point at the camera, this is what happens. Later that year on Monday Night Football, Sam Darnold and the Jets get annihilated by Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. And Sam Darnold says famously on the sideline, he's seeing ghosts. And in that moment, Sam Darnold became a living, breathing meme. A casualty of the internet age. But the funny thing about the word casualty is that it implies death. It's over. Like the internet age and social media and the Jets and NFL fans and whatever ruined Sam Darnold. And he became a casualty. Isn't it funny then that he ain't dead? He's starting Super Bowl 60 and he's the biggest story of the game. Isn't that incredible? Isn't that unbelievable? I'm going to take it a step further. And you may hear me say this, and you may think this is cheesy or hokey. And I mean, whatever, like you're welcome to that opinion. I mean it with sincerity. This dude is a great American success story. And you could say, oh, well, played at USC and the third overall pick in the draft is what was expected of him. Here's what I know. I'm a dad, right? Now, I have a young child, so I'm not trying to make it like I have all the answers. I don't. But being a dad has given me like a renewed perspective on things in life, right? Where, let's say that my daughter or have another kid, whatever, your son, your daughter, your friend, your brother, whatever it is, right? You go through adversity in life, and you get knocked on your ass, and you get knocked on your ass again. And you've got all the people around you telling you and telling others loudly enough so you can hear it that you can't make it, that your son can't make it, your brother can't make it, your friend can't make it, your daughter can't make it. And that person doesn't fight back, doesn't get in the mud on social media and reply to comments like Kevin Durant, even though I think Kevin Durant's awesome. Just saying, like, I don't think KD needs to do that. Doesn't do any of that. Keeps his head down. Keeps pushing, keeps working, keeps getting better. Revenge, a dish best served cold. And everybody's got an icy plate in front of them at the moment. And this is a great example when we think about the redemption tour, the resurrection here of Sam Darnold. Talk about coaching in the NFL. And it seems like it's such an obvious thing to say, but I feel like it's not really. Because for as much as we talk about it, I don't think we talk about it enough. And maybe if Sam Darnold, like Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40 against Roman Reigns, if Sam Darnold can finish the story, I think it's going to cause, we're going to have to reframe how we think about a lot of this stuff. Sam Darnold goes, Todd Bowles into Adam Gase. And look, like Todd Bowles has had success in Tampa. I don't think anyone's going to confuse Todd Bowles with Bill Walsh. But I'll tell you what, Adam Gase makes Todd Bowles look like Bill Walsh. I mean, Todd Bowles is Kurt Signetti compared to Adam Gase. And his googly eyes looking like Cookie Monster. That's psycho. One of the worst head coaches ever, Adam Gase. Great job, Peyton Manning, with that recommendation for Adam Gase to get hired by the Jets. So yeah, like Darnold fails in those spots. He's not good. Goes to Carolina with Matt Rule, who's now the coach of Nebraska and can't get Nebraska over the hump. Want to tell me coaching doesn't matter? Okay. Goes to San Francisco. The Shanahan tree car wash. Starts in the final game of the season against Carson Wentz and the Rams. Goes to Minnesota. Here's Kevin O'Connell. Pretty good coach, right? And now to Seattle with Mike McDonald and another member of the Shanahan tree, Gary's son, Clint Kubiak. Tell me coaching doesn't matter and make a difference for a young quarterback. And this is where, you want to say something like Dante Moore. Like maybe he doesn't want to play for the Jets and that's why he went. Like, do you blame him? I'm not trying to bang on the Jets here or like a team like the Cleveland Browns. I mean that sincerely. Just like, come on. Do you really blame these young men if they don't want to go to these spots when you're getting paid a bleep ton of money to stay in college and be the man on a college campus? I'm just saying that I get it. Sam Darnold in the last 2 years in the regular season is 28-6. 28-6. 28-6. And even after the 14-3 season last year with the Minnesota Vikings, we all kind of hand-waved it. Who cares? Sucks. I did it too. I'm wrong too. I'm not saying you're all wrong and I'm right. I'm also wrong. Terrible in the Sunday Night Football finale against the Lions. Brutal in the Monday Night Wildcard loss to the Los Angeles Rams, and we all hand-wave a 14-3 season. And the thing that I regret, as someone who talks about sports for a living, right? And I try to win money betting on sports, right? I think about December 22nd, 2024. The game that I felt like in the moment changed everything for Sam Darnold and for his perception. And I turned out to be wrong because a couple of weeks later, I was back off the bandwagon. When the Minnesota Vikings went to Seattle, and I remember saying, like, when the Seahawks brought Darnold in, I was like, I think that game probably had a lot to do with it. And Darnold was nails in that game on the road at Seattle and hit Justin Jefferson on a couple passes on the final drive of the game that were like spellbinding, including the game winner. And if you remember the scene in the post-game locker, like the team lifted him up into the air like he was a conquering hero. Like they had won the Super Bowl and they were carrying him off the field. They loved him. And then the final two games happened and everyone decided, like Randy Jackson and American Idol, that's a no for me, dog. Or you're watching Shark Tank. And for those reasons, I'm out. And now he will play for a Super Bowl championship in 12 days in Santa Clara. An American success story. There's no other way to put it. An incredible job by him. And the favorite in the betting market to be Super Bowl MVP. What a sentence. What a thought. And somehow, some way, it's true. We're just getting rolling here on this terrific Football Tuesday. On the other side, we're going to get into what I believe to be the biggest story in the game, non-actual X's and O's related, as it regards the New England Patriots. I can't wait to share that with everybody. So we'll talk Patriots on the other side. But in this Sam Darnold renaissance, there are casualties. And it's not him. The team and the people that I think need to regret this the most. Sam Darnold's run to the Super Bowl with Seattle. Who is it? What team is it? And why? I'm going to tell you. Next. You better you bet. Nick Kostos, Westwood One Sports, presented by BetMGM.
Play action. Stepping up. Launching downfield. And it is caught! Twisting, turning, touchdown, Jefferson. Minnesota's back in front.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos and the crew. Presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Fox Sports, courtesy of that highlight. December 22nd, 2024. Vikings 27, Seahawks 24. We were all watching that highlight during the break. Great job by Kenny coming back from break with it. Bill Zimmerman finding it on social media. That throw is preposterous from Darnold. And I know it wasn't that long ago, but in case hashtag people forget, Darnold steps up in the pocket as it collapses around him and just like flicks his wrist down the field to Jefferson, going from left to right on your television screen, down the far sideline. The ball just over the reach of a couple outstretched defenders into the hands of Jefferson, into the end zone. The Vikings would go on to win the game. Like I said in the opening segment, like Darnold gets the hero's reception in the locker room after that game. They loved him. They loved him. And when Seattle signed Sam Darnold, I said on this show, I am sure that the end of that game and Mike McDonald watching Darnold slice and dice his defense down the stretch played a role in Seattle being interested in Sam Darnold. And if you're a Minnesota Vikings fan, I think you have to be absolutely sick. Now, you can say the same thing about the Jets. I mean, to be fair to the Jets, and you can certainly argue that the Jets played a role in Darnold not working out. Well, like, to be fair, like, Darnold didn't win any games there. For whatever the reason is, like, that happened. And when the Jets parted ways with Darnold, whether or not Robert Saleh wanted to or not, it doesn't matter. It happened. Darnold wasn't good enough as the Jets quarterback. They got it wrong with Zach Wilson, but what if they had gotten it right? Who the hell knows, right, leading up to the draft? I don't want to kill the Jets too much for this. Like, Darnold also didn't play well. Did he have good coaches? No. Is it a good situation? No. Is it a stable organization? No. Also, he didn't play great. It is what it is. Carolina with Matt Rule. No one thought Sam Darnold was setting the world on fire as Panthers quarterback. I don't necessarily blame them. And look, we can have jokes at their expense with Baker Mayfield and Darnold in the same quarterback room. Like, I lived through this period of time. We all did, right? I don't remember any of the think pieces or anyone coming on and saying, you know what the Panthers need to do? Sign Darnold or Baker to a huge deal. And I'm not trying to defend Carolina. I'm just saying, like, let's tell the truth. The team that royally screwed this up, it's not even the San Francisco 49ers who had Purdy. It's the team that screwed this up is Minnesota, is the Minnesota Vikings. And if you're a Vikings fan, you need to be ill. And not in the way like Nas would say it. Like physically ill. As Vince McMahon would say, it should make you want to vomit. I have a question for everybody. So the Minnesota Vikings this year, I said this after Week 18. After they, in an extraordinarily game that I will probably forget in the weeks to come because it was eminently forgettable, beat the Green Bay Packers in the final game of the season. The Packers sat everybody, right, heading into they were the 7 seed, couldn't improve, couldn't fall out. That was what it was. The Minnesota Vikings went 9-8 this year. 9-8. And huge thing for a minute. It doesn't look like Brian Flores is getting a head coaching job, and you all know how I feel about that. And once it's done, I'll probably do something about it on the show. I think it's a disgrace that Brian Flores can't get another head coaching job. I don't care like what happened behind the scenes in the past. He's good enough to be a head coach. He should be a head coach. And what a boon that is for Minnesota to have Flores back likely next year as the defensive coordinator. The Vikings went 9-8 this year with J.J. McCarthy, who I will never be able to prove it. They'll never say it. Got benched, so like fake benched at least once by Kevin O'Connell, where Kevin O'Connell lied. Like the ankle sprain where he missed 6 weeks, I will keep saying it. There has never been a quarterback in the history of you can look at Jimmy Garoppolo in 2020, he had multiple ankle sprains. Like, this was an ankle sprain. No quarterback in the world has ever missed 6 games with an ankle sprain until J.J. McCarthy. That was a benching. That it always injured. Okay, sure, right. Okay. J.J. McCarthy, Carson Wentz, Max Brosmer. 9-8. Here's my question for everybody. If Sam Darnold had been the quarterback of the 2025 Minnesota Vikings, what's their record? Do the Bears win the division? Is there a chance that the Minnesota Vikings, not the Seattle Seahawks, are the NFC representative in Super Bowl 60? They went 14-3 last year with Darnold. Is it really that crazy to think, even if they don't win as many regular season games, that they could have been a Super Bowl team with Sam Darnold? Now, hindsight's 20/20, right? The Vikings made the move for J.J. McCarthy. They put all their eggs in the McCarthy basket, and they didn't even want Darnold to be the quarterback last year. McCarthy got hurt. So part of me, and I think part of you, as if you're going to be like a reasonable sports fan, can understand the rationale wanting to go all in on J.J. McCarthy. Like, I get it to a degree. But I think where the miscalculation was made with Minnesota, and also, by the way, Daniel Jones walked to the Indianapolis Colts. The miscalculation was, we don't have like an actual real deal veteran quarterback to pair with McCarthy. They won't make that mistake again this offseason. Maybe it's Aaron Rodgers. They're bringing someone in to compete with McCarthy. It ain't going to be the J.J. McCarthy show next year unless he proves it. That ain't going to be how it goes. You bet on this Tuesday. Nick Kostos here with you on Westwood One Sports. And if it's not J.J. McCarthy, and if it's Sam Darnold, what happens? Because the Vikings have a roster that's ready to win now. And that's why they're not rolling into next year with McCarthy as the unquestioned starter. He's going to have to win that job. And that ain't me saying it. Kevin O'Connell said that. The Vikings royally screwed this up. What a blunder. What a terrible job, honestly, in retrospect, by Kevin O'Connell, Dafa Menso, and the Minnesota, Ziggy Wilf and the Minnesota Vikings to let Sam Darnold walk. And it's possible that over the course of the next 2 weeks, even 3 weeks, imagine Seattle wins the Super Bowl and Darnold plays well. And Darnold continues to play well in Seattle. And J.J. McCarthy never amounts to anything. And I'm not saying that's the case. Not saying that at all. McCarthy can obviously turn it around. But if this is what it's going to be, the Vikings are going to waste this window that they have with this roster to win the Super Bowl. They're going to waste it. And they're going to look back. And we, as sports fans, are going to look back on that decision as one of the great blunders, potentially, in the history of the National Football League. Is that hyperbole? Or could it be true? I think it can absolutely be true. So my question to everybody today, and this is one where I would like for you to participate on the show. You can call us at 310-840-4910, 310-840-4910, and we would love to take your submissions in the YouTube chat as well, youtube.com/@thekostos, @THEKOSTOS. What is the biggest blunder made by your favorite team? Doesn't have to be an NFL team. It could be a basketball, college, hockey, baseball. The biggest blunder made by your favorite team as it regards personnel. No shortage of choices as it regards that particular topic in the world of sports. 310-840-4910, youtube.com/@thekostos, THEKOSTOS. We'll take a quick break here on this Tuesday, and coming up next, we'll take a trip to Kenny's Corner. We got some great sound to play for everybody. Honestly, some like sound that you're going to have to hear to believe it, because some of it's so insane. So we'll get to Kenny's Corner, and I will tell everybody what I believe to be the biggest story emanating out of New England for the Patriots as they look to win another Super Bowl on this Tuesday. You bet. Westwood One Sports.
fake, rolling to his left. May's going to run to the outside of the sideline. He's got the first down. Drake May picks up the first down, and that may be the play that sends the Patriots back to the Super Bowl.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos and the crew. Presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Ryan Radke, Mike Golick Sr. on the call on Westwood One this past Sunday. Drake May with the naked bootleg to salt away the AFC Championship game in Denver and send the Patriots to Super Bowl 60. We'll talk about New England coming up here in a moment, but we got to tell you about our show sponsor, BetMGM, because BetMGM players will receive a no-sweat token to apply to any bet on the NBA. To use the token, add a bet on an NBA event to your bet slip and activate the token. If your bet loses, you'll receive bonus bets. Download the BetMGM app today. Visit BetMGM.com. And as always, please, 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 please gamble responsibly. I think one of the fascinating stories is it regards the New England Patriots entering Super Bowl 60. And I think younger football fans or younger sports fans won't be able to appreciate this. And I'm turning 43 later this year, so I think I've got a decent amount of life experience and experience as a sports fan to be able to author an opinion like this. Where, and I've said this a couple times recently, like when I was growing up, the Patriots stunk. Like they were never really good. Now when Robert Kraft buys the team and he hires Bill Parcells and they go to Super Bowl 31 and they lose to the Packers, like they have that period with Parcells and Bledsoe, that's pretty good. But otherwise, it's a lot of mediocrity. And they were kind of looked at as maybe not a laughingstock at points maybe, but were never really considered to be one of those franchises. Like they weren't in the mix. And consider that period of time, right, prior to Brady and the Patriots and with Belichick winning Super Bowl 36 over Kurt Warner and the St. Louis Rams, where we're coming off a decade in 1990 where the Bills make the Super Bowl. They make it 4 times. And the Broncos win a couple at the end of the decade. And Miami is coming off the Marino era, right? And Peyton Manning has just arrived in Indianapolis. And the Patriots are an afterthought. And the Raiders are on the come with John Gruden. And no one really took the Patriots that seriously. I remember, even here in New York, I grew up as a Giants fan, right? But I got friends that are Jets fans, right? It's not all Giants fans here. When the Patriots beat the Raiders in the Tuck Rule game, in one of the greatest football games ever played, I've told this story. I remember being upstairs at my family's old house on Long Island and walking downstairs to watch the game with my dad. And like as I come down the stairs, I can picture it in my mind's eye, like looking and seeing the TV come into focus in the living room and seeing the Winter Wonderland in Foxborough and just being like, oh yeah, this is the good stuff. And they would obviously beat the Steelers in the AFC title game, and they were the lovable underdog. And a lot of people were rooting for them in that Super Bowl. Fast forward to 2026, and the Patriots are once again the underdogs in the Super Bowl. And not as big an underdog, but still an underdog. And once again, have a second-year quarterback. And have a head coach who was in one stop previously and now in his second stop, and he has turned it all around, and he's turned it all around in short order. And Drake May, like Brady was in his second year, exceptionally likable. Exceptionally likable. Even if you hate the Patriots, you have to acknowledge that Drake May, pretty likable, right? Like his wife is wholesome with like the baking videos, Bake May, all the memes. Everyone loves Drake May. And how rare that is, right? Everybody hates everything and everybody hates everyone. And somehow everybody loves Drake May. And yet, because of the rousing success that the Patriots had in the Brady-Belichick era, no one's going to root for them. Nobody. They're the dog in the game, and no one's going to root for them. I'm being serious. If you're a big, like, North Carolina fan, North Carolina football fan, like you may, because of Drake May, maybe you like them for that reason. Obviously, if you're a Patriots fan, you're going to root for them. You're in the New England area, or you're one of these fair weather fans. Like I used to grow up with Bulls fans in New York. I hated them because Jordan and company were winning. If you're a real Patriots fan, Obviously, you're going to root for your team. God bless you. You should. Outside of that, who in this country is rooting for the New England Patriots? Who's rooting for them? Everyone's going to root for Sam Darnold. Everybody's going to root for the Seattle Seahawks. I'm not going to say it's a shame, because it's not. And no Patriots fan should be mad about it, because you had the run of success. You would never trade that run of success. But isn't that interesting? That a team where if you strip away the past history and what's happened over the last couple decades, a team that would be very easy for the country to rally behind and root for and be the lovable underdog. And instead, the team that's the 4.5-point favorite in the game is the lovable underdog, and they're favored. How crazy is that, right? But it's true. And I think that is evidence alone. Not that we needed more evidence, but man, who's going to deny it now? The Patriots were not one of those teams. Hashtag those. One of those teams prior to winning Super Bowl 36. They weren't one of those teams in the NFL. Now, they are one of those teams. And not just in the NFL, but all of sports. Patriots, Yankees, Duke. Who am I missing? Here's a question for everybody. If the Dallas Cowboys played the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl, who do you think the country would root for? I think the country would root for the Cowboys, who haven't been there haven't been to a conference title game in 30 years. I think the Cowboys would be the lovable underdog in that game. And it's going to have no bearing or impact on who wins Super Bowl 60 or who covers the spread or whether it goes over or under the total. But just from a sports perspective, isn't that fascinating? The team that was once upon a time the lovable underdog and should be the lovable underdog in this game is instead the hated favorite. And it's all because of Brady and Belichick and all the Super Bowls. Sports are the absolute best. You bet on this Tuesday. Nick Kostos and the crew here with you on Westwood One Sports. We welcome to the show now, and we'll do an abbreviated version now, and then we'll do it a little later in the program. We welcome to the show our friend Kenny Henderson, who had to miss yesterday's show because he had a flat tire, and obviously Chicago deluged with snow like we were here in New York City. Kenny is back with us today. Kenny, how did it go with the car? And thank you for your efforts yesterday in helping to make the show great.
It went great. Was able to take it to Discount Tire and get it fixed, and now I'm all good to go for now, at least, until something else happens with the car. You know how that is.
I do know how that is. It's never great when you have car issues. So, Kenny, let's get to it here. Bill and Tyler will join us. Kenny's Corner, drop the beat. Let's get to some audio.
All right, let's do it. Shedeur Sanders is a Pro Bowler, rookie year, pretty legendary, tallying 7 touchdowns and 10 interceptions on the year. Now, we've known for a while that the Pro Bowl is a joke, but I think the joke has gone too far. I have some sound here from 92.3 The Fan in Cleveland. Here's Ken Carman giving his take on Shedeur being named a Pro Bowler.
I think this is totally unfair to Shedeur, and I hate it for him. I absolutely hate it. He can't say no. You're doing a solid to the NFL. You can't turn that down. So you have to go to the Pro Bowl games. And it's been, even I had to make the joke at you. Like, oh, you're trying to run a Pro Bowl quarterback out of this team, out of this city. It's been nonstop jokes. It's unfair.
Yeah,
you put a highlight on a quarterback that is a developmental quarterback. You put an unfair highlight on a developmental quarterback, and you've just let the internet go make jokes at his expense.
So that's Ken Carman from the Odyssey station in Cleveland. I go on that station with Baskin and Phelps. They do a great job, 92.3 The Fan in Cleveland. The one thing, and I think Ken Carman is awesome, and he's an institution there in Cleveland. The one thing I'll disagree with Ken Carman on, Shedeur could say no. He could say no. Like, I don't deserve to be a Pro Bowler. Now, I try to put myself in his shoes when I want to do it. Honestly, I feel like I would be embarrassed. And that's not to say that Shedeur has to be embarrassed. Like, people don't have to think the way that I think. But, I mean, he could say no. But send Tyler Huntley to another Pro Bowl. Like, Tyler Huntley's made it before. I don't know. And it's just like, my thought here, like, yes, it is a little unfair to Shedeur. Just like, can we just cancel this game once and for all? Like, we don't have to do this. The Pro Bowl doesn't have to be a thing. We can get rid of it, and no one's going to care, and no one's going to miss it. Like, the Pro Bowl should have ended after Sean Taylor, the late, great Sean Taylor, killed that punter. Like, that should have been it. The Pro Bowl should have stopped existing. Like, that's the greatest moment in Pro Bowl history. It's brutal. Like, what's next? Like, Xavier Smith is going to be named to the Pro Bowl after muffing the punt on Championship Sunday? Like, is Brian Dable going to coach the team after getting fired by the New York Football Giants? I mean, think about it. Like, is Jake Browning going to be named to the Pro Bowl? Like, is the Chargers offensive line going to get named to the Pro Bowl? Like, is the fan, that DK Metcalf punch, going to be named to the Pro Bowl? Will Kevin Patullo get the call to Blaze for the Pro Bowl? Will Spencer Rattler go to the Pro Bowl? Can Kyler Murray go to the Pro Bowl? Like, what is this here? Just like, the game needs to go away. Bill and Tyler, am I wrong about, like, is there anything? It feels like the NFL's trying to fix this problem, except it's not that it's broken. It's like the Death Star at the end of A New Hope. That son of a bitch got blown up. It's over. It's done.
Yeah, here's my thing. If they want to do these Pro Bowl games and whatever they're trying to do now, I don't care. But here's the thing. You name a Pro Bowl team. If people don't want to go, they don't want to go. You can put whoever you want down there. Is it in Orlando? I don't even know. But do whatever you want. Just don't name them Pro Bowlers. If Shedeur Sanders was just going down there, but he wasn't going to be named a Pro Bowler, nobody would care. So stop trying to come up with an alternate. You need the 9th or 10th or 11th quarterback in the AFC because no one else wants to go or everyone's going to be quote-unquote hurt.
Tyler Morales has written in the chat that he has an excellent idea. So no pressure here, Tyler. What is your excellent idea to fix the Pro Bowl? Tyler's microphone is off. We're off to a rousing start. Tyler, please, just, okay. Go ahead, Tyler. Tyler, we still can't hear you. We'll try this one more time. Tyler, do we have you? Okay, we don't have Tyler. Tyler will not be elected to the Pro Bowl. Oh, I think we have Tyler now. Tyler?
I should be good now.
Okay, go ahead.
I think we should get a fix system and make it like the backup bowl where we have like the backup quarterbacks who need reps just play in the game, and so we can see like Jalen Milroe play or like Anthony Richardson as a backup and actually like make this kind of competitive because some of these guys need reps. Probably even Shedeur needs reps. So I think we just take all the backups that didn't play and make it like one big All-Star game, and they get one game to showcase their talents and be actually competitive. I think in terms of instead of a Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
Bears fans will go wild for Tyson Bagent.
I mean, it'd be better than the flag football game we get.
Okay, let's just, okay. Yeah, I think the show's pretty good. Tyler sounds like he's like Bubble Man from Mega Man 2, like he's broadcasting underwater. Can we get this fixed, guys, please? Is it too much to ask for? People come on the air, have the microphone sound good? Thank you very much, Tyler. Your idea is not bad. Well, what about the rest of the players? Like, it's all backups? You know what we call that? The XFL. Hour 1 done, hour 2 for you coming up on the other side. To kick off hour number 2, the great Ian Eagle will join us. John Fanta coming up later in the hour as well, and we'll be talking college hoops here on a Tuesday. You better, you bet, on Westwood One Sports.
names in the business are on You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos.
Hey, this is Joe Buck, and you have done it. You have found it. You are listening to You Better You Bet. Great decision.
Hi, this is Kevin Harlan of CBS, Westwood One, and TNT, and I'm listening as you do every day to You Better You Bet with the most handsome single man in the radio business. A man who, if I was not married for 38 years, I might consider myself the kind of guy that can electrify a listening audience and a crowd of bystanders watching him do what he does so well each and every day. Continue to listen right here on You Better You Bet.
This is You Better You Bet on Westwood One Sports. Brought to you by BetMGM.
The terrific Football Tuesday edition of You Better You Bet rolls on. Nick Kostos, our crew, and you here on Westwood One Sports. First hour of the show, diving into the big storylines of Super Bowl 60, how somehow, some way, improbably, Sam Darnold is the biggest story of the Super Bowl. And what a sentence that is. Not only to say out loud, but also have it be true. Why the Minnesota Vikings have to be ruining the day they let Sam Darnold walk. Went 9-8 last year with J.J. McCarthy, Carson Wentz, and Max Brosmer. They could have been playing for Super Bowl 60 if they had kept Sam Darnold. And why the New England Patriots feels like should be the lovable underdogs in this game, but will never be the lovable underdogs again, thanks to their sustained run of success with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Feels like they are now in the New York Yankees, Duke, LA Lakers tier of hated teams around the country. The great John Fanta joins us later this hour, talking some college hoops and his beloved Cleveland Browns. And I'll tell everybody about 25 minutes from now why I believe there is a team that we are all sleeping on right now in college basketball, and I can't believe that we're all doing it. And when I tell you, the listener, you, the viewer, that team, you will be shocked as well. But joining us right now to kick off the hour, hashtag friend of the show, one of our absolute favorites, the legendary, the great, the very funny, Ian Eagle. CBS Sports, Westwood One, Amazon, Netflix. Is there a place, Ian, that you currently do not receive a paycheck from? And I say that out of jealousy. Welcome back to the show. Hope the holidays were great. How's it going?
Hey, what's up, Kostos? No, I do not work for HGTV, Home and Garden TV, but I'm trying.
Are you a fan of Home and Garden TV?
No, I would not even know where to find it, but that would not stop me from appearing on it.
I also am of the mindset where if someone would like to pay me to appear on their television show, I would really, really gladly do. Oh, I mean, that's to anyone. I get asked sometimes. I'm curious. I'm sure you've had this before, where, I mean, there are some things that I wouldn't do. Right? It's like, hey, advertise illegal drugs. Like, I'm not going to do that. But generally, it's like, hey, do you want to advertise this product? My question is, like, does it hurt people? No. Do I get paid? Yes. Then the answer to the question is yes. I'm almost insulted, Ian, by some of these questions I get asked.
I think I tend to try to have some discretion. I do believe that we're at a stage of life where you have to be a bit more choosy. But no, I'm open for business just like you are. And if someone is interested, I'm willing to have the conversation.
Ian, let's do this. Our friend Kenny Henderson is going to, the phone connection's a little all over the place. Kenny's going to call you right back, and we're going to try to establish a better connection and bring you back on the air. Cool?
Yeah, of course.
All right, so our friend Ian Eagle will rejoin us on the show in just a moment. Kenny, give it a couple seconds. Give Ian a call back. Let's make sure that the connection is good, and we will put Ian back on the air. And Ian, and we'll ask Ian about this in a moment, is coming off a magnificent season calling games for the NFL on CBS with J.J. Watt. And I know, like a lot of our listeners and viewers, like I'm sure you're listening to the show, watching the show right now, and you're thinking, yeah, like Ian and J.J. are the absolute best, maybe the best team calling games for CBS. Who are we to say that? But a really great season for Ian and J.J. Watt, and I think J.J. Watt really did, like in year one as a game analyst, like really kind of, I think, blew away what the expectations were. Not that they were low, but that you never know how this is going to go. And I've talked about it, right? The Joe Montana example, where when Joe Montana retires, he's the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, formerly of the Niners, obviously winning Super Bowls there in San Francisco, and Montana retires, and he joins NBC as a broadcaster. And I remember, like the mania leading up to Joe Montana working for NBC and people thinking, man, this is going to like revolutionize football commentary. This is going to be great. And it wasn't the case. And that happens sometimes. And that was not the case here with J.J. Watt. Ian Eagle back with me on the show. And Ian, what I was saying while we were getting you back on the air was, man, you know, I'm not saying this just because you're here to blow smoke. I say it when you are not here with us on the show. I say it off air. You and J.J. Watt absolutely crushed in season number 1, like had an unbelievable year. And just that, while the expectations might have been high for J.J. Watt in year 1, you never know how it's going to go, right? With like a star athlete making the transition to the booth. He was exceptional. How would you kind of view season 1 with you and J.J. Watt calling games for CBS? I thought you guys were great.
Oh, yeah, that means a lot, Nick. Yeah, it was terrific, and it was terrific from the word go, from the first meeting that we had, from the first drive over to the stadium that we had. You can sense when something is going to work, and I just knew it early on. He came in with the best attitude possible. He wanted to be great at this. He put in the work. He asked the right questions. And then the other part, which is the secret sauce, is on air, he was himself. He didn't become somebody else. He's really likable, incredibly affable, very relatable. And we got to that place where the second the microphone went on and the camera went on, he didn't change. He was absolutely very much who you believe him to be. So hard worker, big-time prep guy, and then really good sense of humor. So just did it all. It was even better than I probably anticipated.
What is like the funniest story that you can tell? Could be something on air, preferably something off air, from year 1 of you doing games with J.J. Watt, NFL on CBS.
We had a lot of laughs. I think when you have similar senses of humor and you get one another, and throw Evan Washburn into that category as well, our sideline reporter, our producer Ken Mack, our director Suzanne Smith, our entire crew. The fact is he is a relatable human being, and he does not have the pretense of a superstar. So just to be in his orbit, enter these restaurants and hotels with him, he kind of stands out, Nick. I don't know if you've noticed just the stature. It's not something where you can sneak into places. So just watching people's reactions when he walks in a room, and then also the reactions of professional football players, because if we talk to a defensive player, odds are they grew up watching J.J. Watt and idolizing J.J. Watt. So there were a few rather large name players that were in a bit of awe of J.J. And these are accomplished players that felt like, oh man, I can't believe I'm talking to J.J. Watt. And I haven't really experienced that just based on circumstances and generation of guys that I've worked with. So that part of it, guys wanted to take pictures with him after a production meeting. That's just not something I had seen before, and it shows you the kind of impact that he had as a player, and now he's having as a broadcaster.
All right, we're able to make out most of the answer there. Kenny's going to try and get the connection with Ian Eagle squared away. Obviously, we're very excited to have Ian on the show, and hopefully we're able to get the connection squared away to continue the interview with the great Ian Eagle of the NFL on CBS and Amazon Prime, and of course our friends at Westwood One. It's really funny to think about, and kind of just makes me feel a little old that all these players that are playing in the NFL now, the younger players, all grew up watching J.J. Watt like when they were kids. Meanwhile, like, I'm older than J.J. Watt. And like, watch J.J. Watt in college, watched him be a first-round pick in the draft, watch him win a couple Defensive Players of the Year and author a Hall of Fame career with the Houston Texans. That is really funny. And you could really tell that the rapport with Ian and JJ is legit. Like, it's not just something that happens on the air. Like, you have to be able to have those laughs with someone off the air for it to translate on the air. And, I do this not to the extent that Ian has done it in his career with his various broadcast partners, whether it's, Jim Spernarkle and doing college basketball with Jim forever, or, the various NBA analysts he's worked with, or certainly now JJ Watt, where you have a co-host or you have a partner. If you don't have the rapport off air, you're never going to have it on the air. Like, you're never going to have it on the air. And for longtime listeners and viewers of the show, like when me and Ken Barkley used to do the show together, you know, Ken and I can still pick up now if we have a phone conversation and have a conversation for like 10, 15 minutes where it sounds like we're on the air and we're off the air. And the same thing with me and Femi and other guys that I've worked with in the past. Ian is back with us here. Ian, you were saying about the relationship that you have with J.J. Watt and all the laughs that you guys shared. I'm saying, like, you guys have to have that rapport off the air as well for it to translate on the air.
Yeah, I think so. I think, Nick, the ones that truly feel real are the ones that are actually real and are not manufactured. That is something that I've tried to pride myself on with anybody that I work with, try to find commonality, put them in the best position to succeed. It's not to say that every person you work with is going to be your best friend, but it's someone that you can have a lunch with, a drink with, share a moment with, and there's friendship that permeates through it. So for me, I just think that's part of the job. That's part of the job title as the play-by-play announcer. You have to be a really good traffic cop, and you have to recognize that it's your job to make people comfortable. The person next to you, the viewers, the production team, that to me is a non-negotiable with the position.
And you guys did an awesome job this season. I would love, and I do this sometimes, and I feel like this is maybe like Mad Dog Russo's influence on me, Ian, but I always find this so fascinating, right, where, it's just like never a great way to start a sentence. Just like, here's a Mad Dog Russo influence question here. I don't even want to turn this into a travel thing, but I think, like my listeners and my viewers and my audience, I think really groove on this stuff. And I know this from like almost a decade doing the show, where we love to get inside the minds of like experts of their crafts, right, in broadcasting. And you were certainly one of these people. And I feel like it seems easy for people in the audience, right, sports fans, just to say, okay, like, I could do that, sure, what he's doing, right? Kevin Harlan was on the air last week with us, and he goes, well, I think anybody could do this. And I'm like, well, I appreciate you being humble and saying that, but we both know that's not true. And for you, right, and you're about to embark on doing college basketball here for CBS, and you called a game last weekend, and I kind of feel once Championship Sunday ends in the NFL, like college basketball season starts. Like, how do you in your brain kind of like morph and kind of like flip that switch? You've been calling the NFL for the entire season. You're doing NBA games as well. Now it's college hoops time. Yeah. How do you kind of compartmentalize all these different sports, all these different rosters, et cetera?
Yeah, it comes down to prep. And are you willing to put the time in? For me, because I've been juggling different sports for so many years, I definitely have a routine that I found that's effective for me, getting ahead, not leaving things for the last minute. I'm not someone that's going to push it off. I started working on teams that I have 3 weeks from now, a month from now, just to get the skeleton down, just to plant seeds in my head so names start to float around. Last year, for the NCAA tournament, I just realized that there were some teams that I might see that I had not seen during the regular season, at least from a play-by-play standpoint, and I just committed myself 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours on a particular team. Florida, as an example, I didn't have them in the regular season. I just thought to myself, man, there's a pretty good chance I'm going to get these guys. So I started watching games, started jotting down notes, started doing my charts for them, and then boom, I get them in the first and second round. I get them in the Final Four of the national championship. So I hedge a bit. I understand that it's a little bit of a different mindset. NBA, I feel like I've been doing it for so long. I could walk into any game and have a feel for what's happening and who's on the team and how they got there. I still prepare, but it's a different approach. College basketball, you got to know those two teams inside and out. And the difference now is the lack of carryover. Used to be if you got a team back-to-back years, you look at your notes, you're like, oh, okay, there are 6 guys back from last year's team. Now there might be 1. There might be 0. I had Maryland last week. Literally nobody from the team last year that went to the Sweet 16 was contributing to the team this year. 15 of 16 roster spots are new players, and that's becoming more and more common. around college hoops. So I think it's just how you compartmentalize your time, how you use it, and how efficient are you in preparing for the two teams that are on your board.
Ian, you're the best. I really wish we could have dragged this out a little longer, made this, I had a bunch of other questions to ask you. I feel like, unfortunately, whether it's the hotel, whatever it is, phone connection, not great, but really appreciate you joining the show. Hope we get to do this again. Safe travels, and we'll catch up with you down the road.
All right, Nick, you're my guy. Anytime. You know that. I'm going to buy a whole new phone system just for these interviews. I made the decision.
You're the best, Ian. Thank you very much. Ian Eagle joining us here on You Better You Bet. Listen, sometimes this happens with technology. It is what it is. Not every phone connection is going to be great. We do the best we can. Ian will definitely join us down the road here on the show. Always love the conversations with our friend Ian Eagle. Well, Ian is about to embark on calling college basketball games for our friends at CBS. John Fanta will join us coming up later this hour. On the other side, I'm going to talk to you about college basketball from last night, Duke beating Louisville, Arizona surviving against BYU, and I think there are a couple big picture takeaways from those two games coming up next here on Westwood One Sports.
Moshkovich into right. Here we go. Right. Inside. Right. Step back. Rejected. Wow, what a play. Buries with the rejection.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports.
All right, so listen, we haven't covered ourselves in glory as a show here for the last 20 minutes. The Ian Eagle, unfortunately, cell connection not great. And Ian is like the nicest guy in the world. Like, we tried to make that work with Ian. Phone connection, unfortunately, not great. That kind of stuff happens. I feel like, in all the years I've done national radio, long-ass time, both as a producer and a host, I would say that kind of happens like a couple times a year, maybe. You would hope it happens to like a lesser guest than Ian Eagle. Like, the Ian Eagle spots are ones that we look forward to on this show. Like when we have the Kevin Harlans of the world on, the Sean McDonoughs, the Ian Eagles, the Joe Bucks, like broadcasters of that ilk who are really good dudes. That sucks. That's you're spinning the wheel on Wheel of Fortune and you hit bankrupt. Ian is such a good guy. I have no doubt we'll get him back on the show. Really wish that could have been a better spot. Not only, candidly, not just for you, our listeners and viewers. I'm pissed for me because I really enjoy the conversations with Ian. And, of course, we had Tyler Morales doing the show underwater at the end of the first hour. So this has not been us covering ourselves in glory here as a show crew today. The good news is I actually don't think it can get worse. I think my stuff at the beginning was pretty good. The only way it can go is up. John Fanta will join us in 10 minutes from now. And I'll just say this. If we can't hear John Fanta, we're firing everybody and we have a whole new crew tomorrow on Westwood One Sports. I'm just saying. Like, need John Fanta to sound good when he joins us coming up 10 minutes from now from NBC Sports talking college basketball. And we'll talk some college basketball with you, our listeners and viewers, right now. Because it's the truth. Yeah, like football season's almost done. But the sports calendar rolls on. March Madness. Literally 6 weeks from now, or 7 weeks from now, we'll have a bracket. And we'll be heading into the NCAA tournament. And then we're in the heart of NFL draft season and NFL free agency. And oh, baby, we absolutely love it. Oh, yeah. NBA playoffs, Stanley Cup playoffs, baseball going to start. You have to love it. And for me, and I say this every year, when the clock hits triple zeros in whatever the second championship game is on Championship Sunday, college basketball season officially starts. And if you listen to the old show in the old time slot with yours truly and Femi Abebefe, you know that I've been watching and I've been into college basketball from the start this season. And if you, the listener or viewer, if you're parachuting in now, which is totally fine, football's the best, totally get it, you are going to be very, very, very happy because we have a freshman class this year in college basketball. I don't want to say it's unprecedented, but is unbelievable. And this year's NBA draft is absolutely stocked with high-end top talent. And I think we are going to have one of the best ends of regular seasons and one of the best NCAA tournaments in the history of college basketball. And you may hear that, and you may watch me say that on YouTube at youtube.com/@thekostos, and you may say, well, he's exaggerating. That's hyperbole. If you've been following this college basketball season, you know that I'm telling the truth and that this season is going to kick ass. And we had a couple of games in the top 25 last night that are worth discussing, and we'll get into it with John Fanta next segment as well. And we'll start with the nightcap because that was a really good game. It turned out to be a really good game. As Arizona beats BYU on the road 86-83. Arizona is the number one team in the country, has not lost yet this season. So if you look at the final score of the game, you will think that this was a close game, right? Arizona wins by 3, and Kenny plays the block coming back from break of Bryce Burries, the game-winning block with Arizona up 84-83. Arizona would hit a couple free throws and ultimately end up winning the game by 3. But this game was not really close for the duration. Arizona was up 11 with 1:22 to go. Like, Arizona dominated this game. And BYU star freshman who will be a top 3 pick in the NBA draft, A.J. Debonsa, did not have a good shooting game, shot 6 of 24 from the field. And Arizona was running away with this one until they weren't. And look, NBA teams do this also, but I mean, it's especially prevalent in college basketball, where you have these end-game meltdowns. Because they're largely kids, right? They're just kids. turns into like this Benny Hill routine on the college basketball court, right? So Arizona very nearly blows this game and holds on at the very end. And I think you can spin it one of two ways, right? Looking at Arizona down the line this college basketball season, where they're the number one ranked team in the country, haven't lost yet, have a star freshman in Koa Pete, who's going to be a top 10 pick in the draft. Jaden Bradley's unbelievable. Burries scored 29 last night and had the game-saving defensive play. You can look at Arizona and say, okay, yes, they almost blew the game, but they won. They've got 3 awesome players, and they haven't lost yet this season. And they deserve to be one of, if not the favorites, to win the national championship. And that would be a totally reasonable and fair take. You bet on this Tuesday. Nick Kostos here with you on Westwood One Sports. I also think it would be fair to say that Arizona almost blowing the game in the fashion that it did, where if you wanted to say, okay, Tommy Lloyd's NCAA tournament history is not exactly that of Mike Krzyzewski. Like, this isn't Brad Stevens at Butler. And this is not to intimate that Tommy Lloyd can't get to a Final Four, win a national championship. I'm not saying that at all. Just that I think if you ask a lot of college basketball experts, observers, fans, that it's kind of left a little something to be desired with Tommy Lloyd. And when Arizona gets to the tournament, and Arizona's obviously going to be a top seed in the tournament, they're undefeated. It's January 27th. Do you trust them to close out these big games? I think I land more in the former category, that the fact that they were up 11 with 1:22 left, and yes, they almost choked it away, but BYU's really good. Like, and it's not just Abonsa. Like, he's the star of the team, but BYU's really good. I look at it more as Arizona really outclassed BYU on the road, but I would certainly understand people that wanted to shoot holes in BYU and say, you know what? Or in Arizona and say, you know what? I may not trust this team when it really comes down to it. We'll talk about this with John Fanta next segment when he joins us on You Better You Bet. And as for Duke and Louisville, Duke annihilates Louisville in this game. This was like a belt-to-ass game. Duke 83, Louisville 52. And I said at the end of the show yesterday, I don't think I'm going to bet the game, and thankfully I didn't. I lost with BYU, unfortunately. But I said if I were to bet the game, I would take the points with Louisville. I didn't like the bet that much. I didn't end up betting it. Thankfully, I didn't, because Duke wins by 31. And to be fair to Louisville, their star freshman, Mikal Brown, is still working his way back from injury. He shoots 1 of 13 in the game. Like, Louisville's never even coming close to beating Duke if Louisville's best player goes 1 of 13 from the field. But this game and this performance by Duke kind of like illuminated something for me. And kind of like was a light bulb moment for yours truly last night and thinking about the game this morning, where Duke has 1 loss this season. And in that 1 loss, Duke blew a 17-point lead against Texas Tech. And if you don't know, that's okay. That's what I'm here for. Texas Tech is one of the best teams in the country. Ain't no stopping JT Toppin. Just beat Houston. Texas Tech's awesome. So no real shame in losing to Texas Tech. You don't want to blow a huge lead, but no real shame in losing to Texas Tech. If Duke had won that game against Texas Tech, Duke's unbeaten. Duke has the betting favorite for National Player of the Year in Cam Boozer. Another double-double for him last night, 19 and 10. And it's not just Cam Boozer. There's Isaiah Evans, who's awesome. Patrick Gungba, who's tremendous. Sarr. Duke is stacked with talent. And if Duke were undefeated, we'd all be talking about Duke. I actually feel, as crazy as this is to say, and if you're a college basketball fan, I think you know this is true on the national level, right? No one's talking about Duke. All the conversation is Arizona. All the conversation had been about Michigan. Where's Duke in this mix? And I know if you're a college basketball real one, you know how good Duke is, but doesn't it feel like we're almost in February, Duke has 1 loss and the favorite to be National Player of the Year, and somehow like no one's talking about Duke? And perhaps some of that has to do with the fact that Duke last year, I think you can make the case 2024-25 Duke might be the best team to not win the national championship in college basketball, maybe in the history of the sport. And you could bring up the Kentucky team that was undefeated going into the Final Four that lost to Wisconsin in 2015, 1991 UNLV, losing to Duke in the national semifinal. Last year's Duke team was outstanding. And obviously couldn't get it together against Houston at the end of that game, infamously, especially for us because we all love Duke in that game. This year's Duke team is not as good as last year's Duke team. But last year's Duke team didn't win at all. And I think this year's Duke team absolutely can. The pro comp that I would make here is the 2005 to the 2006 Colts in the NFL. For the 2005 Colts, we're the better team than the 2006 Colts. Lost that game at home to the Steelers, the Mike Vanderjagt miss at the end of the game, and then come back and win in 2006, beating the Patriots, finally slaying the dragon en route to winning the Super Bowl. Duke may not be as good this year as it was last year. Don't be surprised if Duke wins this year's national championship, unlike last year's Duke team, which lost to Houston in the Final Four. Quick break. John Fanta joins us coming up next, talking college basketball and his Cleveland Browns here on Westwood One Sports.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos and the crew. Presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Oh, it felt good to talk some college basketball in that last segment, and I think our guest who will join us in just a moment will agree with the sentiment. Actually, he may disagree, because I think it's always college basketball season to our friend John Fanta. But John Fanta joins us now on the show, and beloved member of the sports media. And I say this every time he comes on the show. It's very rare to have somebody like Sam Darnold, I think, kind of has like 100% approval rating right now. It's very rare for anyone in life to have 100% approval rating. I certainly don't. I get plenty of nice messages, also get lots of not nice messages, and I appreciate everyone that tunes into the show and checks out the content. Our friend John Fanta, 100% approval rating. Loves it. And loves college basketball. And John, what I always say is, I feel like, and I follow the season the whole way through, but I feel like college basketball season really starts when Conference Championship Sunday ends in the National Football League. So John joins us now on Twitter at John_Fanta. He will be on the broadcast coming up tonight for Peacock and NBC Sports of Indiana and Purdue, and he did awesome work for them this football season, NBC. Welcome back to the show, John. Do you agree with my sentiment on college basketball? I feel like we may be doing like a Saturday Night Live bit here. Okay, I think we have John. John, are you with us?
Nick, I'm here. It's great to be with you. What's happening?
How's it going, my man?
You there, Nick?
I got you. John, can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's happening?
Okay, great to have you here on the show, my friend. I was saying there, I think we are having some technical issues on the show today. We'll power through. I was saying, John, that. Okay, great.
7 weeks. Yeah, I'm with you. Look, you're now 7 weeks away from Selection Sunday. And so, yes, these next 7 weeks are when people really are picking up on the sport. What I would say is, first off, that's great. As someone, who's with the sport since November, this is a terrific time to, jump in. I would also say, Nick, that in the midst of all the chaos off the floor, what we're watching on the floor is the best top of the country I've ever seen. I legitimately think 12 teams can win the national championship. That's certainly more than last year. And, Nick, this is the best freshman class maybe in the last 25 years. So we are watching some history. A.J. DeBonsa, Darren Peterson, Cameron Boozer. How about Kingston Flemings at Houston? And even Keaton Wagler, who had 46 points, shot 9 of 11 from 3 for Illinois over the weekend in a win at Purdue. So college basketball is in really good hands. We are in for a really fun road to March, my friend.
Oh, I said basically all of that in the last segment. I'm so with you. I think we may get to the end of this season, John, and say this is the best college basketball season of our lifetime. So certainly high expectations coming down the stretch here. And I'd love to start here, and we'll talk about Indiana-Purdue. I think it's a fascinating game tonight at Assembly Hall. Purdue coming off a couple losses, trying to get back in the win column. But coming off of last night's games and the Arizona-BYU game late night with Arizona almost blowing the lead at the end. And what I was saying in the last segment, John, is I think you can maybe take this one of two ways, right? Where you could say, okay, I'm not going to trust Arizona come tournament time because maybe Tommy Lloyd's tournament shortcomings, right, wrong, or indifferent to feel that way. And they did win the game, but they also kind of almost blew it at the end in a game that they should have won comfortably. Or you can look at it, and I'm more on this end to say, I'm more impressed that they were up by double digits with 1:20 to go against a really good BYU team on the road. And I think Arizona's awesome. Where do you come down on Arizona, the number one ranked team in the country, the undefeated Wildcats, following the escape last night on the road at BYU?
Well, I think that they are the best team in the country, and they've earned that right. To be at 21-0 is nothing short of unbelievable. By the way, we've got 3 teams at 20-0 or better in the sport. This is the first time we've had that in several decades. I mean, I think it's been over 40 years. So here's the thing with Arizona. They won the game, and they won in Provo. And that's not easy to do. They built that lead off of defensive toughness. They said, you know what, A.J. DeBonsa, you're going to go get yours. We're going to take away the other pieces. In that atmosphere, it's easy to let your guard down a little bit, and Arizona did. But to me, how they won the game was so impressive BYU gets the ball back. You've got a final sequence, and who steps up but Braden Burries? And Nick, I wasn't surprised. I haven't been surprised by Burries. Early in the season when everybody was talking about Koa Pete, I love Koa Pete too. What Tommy Lloyd did in the high school recruiting circuit is he went and got winners. All Braden Burries did in high school was win. I watched him win a number of Peach Jam games with his will and with his scoring and with his tenacity. And I thought that last night, Burries and Pete, they stepped up big time. Jaden Bradley, how do you win a game like that? You have an All-American point guard, and he is performing at an All-American level. Was it perfect? No. Do I have trust issues with Arizona? You could argue that in the NCAA tournament, Tommy Lloyd has underperformed, and that's a very real part of their narrative. But, Nick, they have point guard play, and they have terrific physicality. They've got the right amount of depth. They're balanced and complementary. Their three-point shooting comes and goes, but they can win a game if they're not shooting the ball well. They have more than earned the right to be the best team in America, and BYU is a top 10, top 12 team. So that you're going to have a moment on the road where you start to spill some oil. I think that's very real in this sport. The fact is they found a way to get the win. Give them credit.
I agree with that. John Fanta here with us on the show. NBC Sports will be on the broadcast tonight. Indiana and Purdue. NBC Sports and Peacock on Twitter at John_Fanta. John, I can't believe I said what I said last segment. I think it's true. It kind of feels like, and given the brand name of this school, that's where it becomes unbelievable. It kind of feels like everybody's sleeping on Duke, to me, at least a little bit, where Duke's one loss this season is against I don't need to tell you this, right? Against an awesome Texas Tech team, have the favor for National Player of the Year in Cam Boozer, and yet it feels like everybody, and like they should be talking about Arizona, people should be talking about Michigan. It feels like Duke is kind of flying under the radar a little bit here. And I think Duke can absolutely win the national championship this year and do what last year's team couldn't do with Cooper Flagg and Con Knippel and company. Where do you come down right now on Cam Boozer, John Shire, and the Duke Blue Devils?
Then I think John Shire is the top 3 coach in college basketball. I think that people are not – you're exactly right. Like, everybody always says, well, Duke's better for television ratings and Duke's better for engagement. Well, then how come we aren't talking about them? I mean – to me, this is where, you and I are going to talk about them right now, but I get the daytime debate shows, and I'm not trying to venture off into this. They're going to talk a lot of football still, Nick, but this is a real story now, what Duke is doing. And they're doing it because Cameron Boozer is the ultimate winner. Here you have the Boozer twins, Cameron and Caden, who all they've ever done is win. They won Peach Jams, they won state championships. They're just have an incredible will. And now that has translated to this team. Isaiah Evans is a terrific guard. He and Caleb Foster, they can stir the drink for this team. Nick Kamenya has been a solid role guy, as has Dame Sarr. Malik Brown is the elite defensive player. They are a wagon, and they're a wagon that if they get enough perimeter shot making, I don't know what you do against them. So the fact is, you look at the last 2 years for Duke, they go 35-4 last year, and Nick, they collapsed to Houston. They did. That's part of the story, no question about it. But I think we all would agree, that team was as fit as any to win a national championship. I know they didn't, and then automatically, what does our world do? They're like, well, John Shire can't win the big one. Nick, he's 38. He's 38. He could coach for another 30 years, and I think within that 30 years, he could win 4 or 5 titles. I think that's what we're watching right now, if not more. This guy, in the last 2 seasons, is now 54-5. Duke is. They are absolutely in a world where Carolina's not what they've been. Kansas isn't what they've been. Kansas might be 5th or 6th in the Big 12. Kentucky's not where they've been, and they spent over $20 million on their roster. Everyone's like, well, the Blue Bloods aren't what they used to be. Duke is accelerating. They're accelerating. And so I'm with you. I think that this is a really unique story in the sport that Shire took over. You never want to be the guy who takes over for the guy. Shire's proved those people wrong.
What's so funny, right, John, about the John Shire hate? And look, I was pretty pissed when Duke lost to Houston, to be fair. Like, I know it's not apples to apples because one is as a player and one is as a coach. Like, he captained the Duke team that won the national championship in 2009 to 2010 against Gordon Hayward and Butler in that national championship game. So he literally has won at Duke at the highest level as a player, now as a coach. So you're 100% right. The insinuation that John Shire can't win the big one, he literally has won it at Duke already, albeit as a player instead of a coach. I can't wait to get your answer to this question, and I think you're going to say Arizona, but maybe I'm wrong about that based on the way you talked about the Wildcats. You mentioned that there are 12 teams that you think could potentially win the national championship, and just for context, and you said this, right? Think about you, the listener and the viewer and the audience, last year and how we felt about this. Who can win the national championship? It wasn't that many teams. Now there's a ton of them, and it's part of what makes the season awesome. If I gave you a pencil, because we'll be fair here, right? It's January 27th. Not a pen, a pencil with an eraser on it. You can change your mind as the season goes along. As of right now, who is John Fanta's pick to win the national championship in college basketball, and why?
The Houston Cougars. Because they...
I did not think you were going to say Houston. I love that. But tell us why.
A redemption arc. I love the idea of how close they came. I think it drives you. I think it drives your program, especially when Emmanuel Sharp and JoJo Tugler are still there. Kingston Flemings is a killer. This guy is high level in shot making and playmaking. And you know what I love? He's a freshman surrounded by vets. Milo Shuzan, Emmanuel Sharp on the perimeter. Chris Sinak keeps getting better and better. He's a Tonka truck of sorts on the interior. They defend the heck out of you like they always have, but they can win a high-scoring game. I love that about this team. I think Kelvin Sampson has gotten better offensively. By the way, I'm watching Kelvin coach, and, you know, it's an interesting story of, like, I think a lot of people thought, well, maybe this will be his last season. And his son Kellen is waiting. Nick, you would never know it by his energy. You know, he wants to get that title. I think he could go out on it. It's that type of story arc. I think Kelvin's a Hall of Famer, and I think his team, they're so made to win this thing because they can do it on both ends, and they're not over-relying on one piece. So to answer your question, I'm going to go with Houston. There are other candidates, but you made me pick one, and I do love the Cougars.
I love that. I love that so much. John, and I'd like to close with a thought on your Cleveland Browns here. So maybe in 30 seconds, I can't wait for Purdue, Indiana tonight. I think this is such a great like styles make fights matchup here. Purdue's about a 5.5-point road favorite. This does not have to be like a betting pick, but just give us a preview of this game, why it's so exciting. I can't wait for it tonight. Purdue and Indiana coming up on Peacock NBC Sports.
Well, it's Indiana's first home game since the football team won the national championship. So the CFP trophy will be there. The players will be there. They're going to get a mammoth ovation. It's a stripe out at Assembly Hall. Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, and Trey Kaufman-Wren are 3-3 all-time against Indiana. They've had struggles at Assembly Hall last year, even with Mike Woodson out the door. Purdue struggled immensely, lost by double figures to Indiana in Bloomington. So the fact is, Smith, Lawyer, and Kaufman-Wren have won a lot of games. If they want to finish over 500 against Indiana in their career, which means something at Purdue, they need to win this game. Purdue's also lost back-to-back games. Here's the interesting catch, Nick. They've played their A game. They played their A game Saturday, and they lost. Sometimes you think, well, they're going to bounce back. They're going to respond. They weren't playing that poorly. What happens now tonight? The key for Indiana, you got to hit threes. Tucker DeVries, Lamar Wilkerson got to bring it from three. How does Indiana deal with Purdue's size will be the big question. It will be an electric environment. Indiana does not have a quad one win. They win tonight, and there's a good chance they're going to the tournament when it's all said and done. It could change their season.
I don't think we have enough time to set you up on the Browns, so let me ask you this instead. We only have about 30 seconds for the answer, and thank you very much for the time.
I can give it to you in 12 seconds.
Go ahead.
I can give you an answer in 12 seconds on the Browns.
Go ahead.
I would hire Nate Shieldhouse. I wouldn't think twice about it. If you hire Jim Schwartz, why didn't you hire him 3 weeks ago? Clearly he wasn't your top choice, and you're hiring a coordinator who his record as a head coach was 29-51. If Shieldhouse turns him down, it's the latest indictment on Jimmy Haslam.
Of many, and some actual legal. I'll give you my thought on the Browns coaching search next hour. 15 seconds here to close here, John. I'm sure you know you're the St. John's thing that you did on Twitter went viral in the Twitter Spaces. It was very funny. I watched it. We shared it. We loved it. When you do that kind of stuff, do you know in the moment this is going to go viral? We have 15 seconds for the answer.
Not at all. I have no clue that it's going to go viral. It's not why I do it. I can assure you. I like interacting with the fans. I don't plan on things going viral. That probably is, what makes the best stuff. But for me, it's just about having passion, having love for this stuff, and I love interacting with the fans. I know you do too. That's what it's all about.
You're the best at John_Fanta. Can't wait to watch you tonight with Purdue and Indiana. We'll catch up with you down the line.
Thanks, Nick. Always great to be with you.
Final hour, Power Hour coming up next here. Westwood One Sports on a Tuesday.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos and the crew. Presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Bring it up, Kenny. Final hour. Power hour. You better you bet on Westwood One Sports. Nick Kostos, our amazing crew, and you. The final hour, the power hour, and every hour here on You Better You Bet, brought to you by BetMGM. Make it legendary by downloading the BetMGM app and visiting BetMGM.com. Man, John Fanta is absolutely the best. And I am sure he's telling the truth when he says he's not trying to go viral. But I think he probably knows in those moments where he goes off on like a stupid fan saying something stupid in one of these Twitter spaces. And like John doesn't curse. He doesn't say anything insulting. He just vociferously defends his point, and he's usually right. I'm sure part of him knows in those moments in the aftermath, like, yeah, it was a pretty good piece of broadcasting right there. That right there, that was pretty entertaining. John's the best. Indiana, Purdue coming up tonight on NBC and Peacock. We very much look forward to that game. I think I'm going to bet it. I'll give you all my bets for tonight at the end of the show. I cannot believe, and I think you can tell based on my answer, that John, when I asked him who's going to win the national championship, said Houston. Like, I wasn't laughing at him, although I did think it was, I can't believe that. Houston, of course, can win the national championship. Houston's the co-fourth choice along with UConn, both at 11-1. Houston's great. Lost to Texas Tech this weekend. Texas Tech also beat Duke, no shame in that. Arizona plus 375, Michigan plus 450, Duke at 10, Houston and UConn 11, Purdue 14, Iowa State 16, Florida, the reigning defending national champions, on a nice run of form right now at 18, along with Gonzaga, Illinois at 20, Texas Tech at 25, AJ DeBonsa and BYU at 30. I thought he was going to say Arizona. I think Iowa State would have been a less surprising answer to me, even if Iowa State has longer odds to win the national championship than Houston. Houston's going to be tough for a lot of people, and put yourself in my shoes right now, you the listener, you the viewer. If you agree or disagree with me, let me know in the YouTube chat, youtube.com/@thecostos. When it comes down to it, and you're filling out your bracket, you're placing your bets on who's going to win the national championship, you're talking with your friends about it, who are you picking? It's not going to be easy to click the button on Houston. I would say to write Houston in your bracket, but I feel like no one does that anymore. I used to, back in the day, grade all the bracket pools in my dad's office. Like, my dad would run the office pool, and like I somehow got relegated to the grunt work of I enjoyed it. I really did like it, to be fair. I don't know if anyone writes out brackets anymore, but if you do, it's going to be tough to write out Houston. It's going to be tough to click the button to bet them. It's going to be tough to send that text to your friends. Yeah, I'm going to take the team that couldn't get a shot off to win the national championship last year. The fact that John Fanta's that confident in Houston, I think should make us all kind of reevaluate our feelings on the Houston Cougars. Loved that spot with John Fanta. All the bets for tonight coming up to close the show. We look forward to that. We will take another trip to Kenny's Corner later this hour as well. A bunch more sound that we need to play for you, our listeners and viewers. But I asked John Fanta, who's a celebrity Cleveland Browns fan. John loves his Cleveland Browns, loves Cleveland sports, about the Browns coaching search. And he said he wants the Browns to hire Nate Scheelhaus, who is the young passing game coordinator for Sean McVay and the Los Angeles Rams. And that if they were going to hire Jim Schwartz, who's been the defensive coordinator for a number of years in Cleveland, why wouldn't they have done it already? Well, I have answers to these questions. Let's get into this now, as I will attempt to answer the question, The answer has eluded football fans, scientists, politicians, world leaders, people for almost 4 decades now. What the hell's wrong with the Cleveland Browns? Why can't they get this right? Let's trace the timeline of events and what's happening here in Cleveland. And I'm going to tell everybody what I think the most likely outcome is and what it's going to mean moving forward. I think I know what's going to happen here. I can always be wrong. I think I'm going to be right about this. So, yesterday, Grant Udinski, who is the offensive coordinator for the Jacksonville Jaguars and Liam Cohen, he pulled out of contention to be the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. It's been reported that Udinski wanted to bring in his own defensive coordinator. And we know that the Browns want Jim Schwartz to be the defensive coordinator or be the head coach of the team. Like whoever comes in as the head coach, that they want Jim Schwartz to be the defensive coordinator. How do we know this? Because Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the team, said at the press conference announcing the firing of Kevin Stefanski that he wants Jim Schwartz to be involved with the team, that he thinks Schwartz is a great coach. So if the owner wants it to happen, you would think that Jim Schwartz will probably stick around. So there you have it with Udinski. He wants to, if he's going to be a head coach, he wants his own defensive coordinator. We also have a report from NFL Media's Tom Pelissero, who will join us live on Radio Row next week in Santa Clara. We very much look forward to that. And this is one that kind of, I want to say it stops you in your tracks. It would stop you in your tracks if, like, a non-cluster F team, this was reported about them. If it's like the Browns or the Jets, and I'm really not trying to bag on these teams, it's just, it's always the same teams that this stuff gets reported about, right? It doesn't stop you in your tracks. You're just kind of, well, that's the Cleveland Browns. That the Browns are, quote, a data-driven operation. Okay. I'm sure that's like something someone in the Browns said to Tom Pelissero. I would do the same thing if I were Tom. I would give the report. And that the Browns are requiring head coaching candidates to fill out questionnaires and essays and personality tests if they want to become the head coach of the team. So I am reading right now. I'm going to give a book recommendation, and I think we're going to have this gentleman join us next week at the Super Bowl. I'm reading a book written by Mike Silver. And if you're a longtime NFL fan, you probably know who Mike Silver is, right? He's been on TV a bunch, on NFL Network, out in the Bay Area, NFL writer forever, works for The Athletic now, has written a bunch of NFL books. I'm reading the latest book from Mike Silver. It's called The Why is Everything. And it's about Mike Shanahan and Kyle and Sean McVay and Matt LaFleur and Raheem Morris and Robert Sala's part of the book, right? And Mike McDaniel. And that coaching tree, right? The Mike Shanahan coaching tree, and then his son Kyle and all the branches and McVay, and how they've kind of revolutionized offensive football and kind of like their story with the 2002 then Redskins and moving on from there. And the book is sensational. Now, you have to be like a big football fan to like it. That's obviously who it's marketed towards. So if you're not a big football fan, you're going to be like, why would you want to read that? It'd be like me wanting to read a book on like the Chinese economy. I don't care at all. I'm not going to read that book. But I'm guessing you, the listener or the viewer, you're a big football fan. I'm not friends with Mike Silver. I've actually never had a conversation with him before. I'm just saying, like, I think this book's really good. And if you're a football fan, a sports fan, I think you'll really like it. And one of the themes of the book is that as time has gone on, Kyle Shanahan, who's kind of still thought to be like a little like prickly, right? And Sean McVay, that as time has gone on, they have really improved their people skills. And that they have gotten to a point where they used to believe, and this is written in the book, right, that they used to feel this way, that their scheme was good enough. We don't care who the players are. If the scheme's good enough, like we're going to call the right plays, players executed, it's going to work. And that's kind of evolved over time. And you realize, no, like the players, like we need to have great players. And we need to talk to the players a certain way and have the players feel a certain way about us, right? That makes sense, right? And I love how the book kind of details that with some of the smartest coaches in the league coming to this realization. And then you see what the Cleveland Browns are doing with the essays and the questionnaires and the personality tests. And this is starting now to resemble, this is like not really like a human-driven operation anymore. This is like an experiment. Like it's going to come out that at some point in the last couple weeks, Jimmy Haslam sold the Browns to like NVIDIA or like Apple or Meta. This is an AI football team. The Cleveland Geminis. The ChatGPT Browns. Where you have people very clearly in executive roles. And this is my opinion, right? And people can disagree with me, but I'm the one with the microphone. I'm giving my opinion. You have people in executive roles who clearly don't feel confident in their ability to get a read on the person that they're talking to. Because if you did, and you had a read on that person, you'd be able to make a decision that you felt confidently about and not have to lean on essays. Like this is someone applying to like go to Syracuse. Or fill out something on the SAT. It's an absolute, it really is a disgrace. An essay? What is this? 5th grade? To be the coach of an NFL team? A personality test? What happened to the actual face-to-face, eye-to-eye, man-to-man, human-to-human conversation? To get a sense of who people are. You need them to write an essay to figure that out? Like you can't lie on an essay? You can't fudge an essay? You can't give answers on a personality test that you think someone wants? You can look someone in the eye and get a sense if they're BSing you. You can't look at a piece of paper and get the sense if they're BSing you. So, of course, like imagine you're Mike McDaniel, right? Let's just put yourselves in the shoes of Mike McDaniel for a second, right? Mike McDaniel just got fired from Miami. Mike McDaniel wants to be a head coach again, right? And he wants to succeed because if he flames out a second time, he ain't never getting another head coaching job. It ain't happening. Like Mike McCarthy just got a 3rd job because Mike McCarthy won a Super Bowl and won 1 million games with the Dallas Cowboys. Mike McDaniel couldn't win a playoff game in Miami. And if the Browns, by all accounts, were really interested in hiring Mike McDaniel, and Mike McDaniel said, no, I'd rather be an offensive coordinator with the Chargers than go work here with Cleveland. Because he has to know that if he takes that job, that he's not going to be set up for success. Because they're a joke of an organization. This isn't an anti-Browns fans are the best. But this organization sucks, right? Tell the truth. Is it a good organization? Is Jimmy Haslam a good owner? Does any of this make any sense? Why would, if you're Nate Shieldhouse, right? I'm going to try and put myself in his shoes now. We can understand why Mike McDaniel wouldn't want the job, because if he fails, which you probably will, working for this organization, you're never getting another job. So if you're Nate Shieldhouse, right, and you're very young, in your early 30s, you have the world in front of you. You're attached to Sean McVay. And maybe Mike LaFleur, Matt's brother, maybe he gets the Arizona Cardinals head coaching job. Like maybe that happens. But either way, like you're in this interview cycle. The Bills have interviewed you. You're now a name. No one knew who you were a month ago, and now everyone in the NFL community knows who you are if you're Nate Shieldhouse. Everybody knows you. Why would you go work for Cleveland? Why would you want that? If you feel like, what would you say, you the listener, you the viewer, is the percent chance that Nate Shieldhouse, let's say he goes, I'm staying in LA. I'm going to remain, maybe he's the offensive coordinator, maybe he remains the passing game coordinator. Given the buzz that has been around him this cycle, he's taken head coaching interviews. What would you say the percent chance is that Nate Shieldhouse, who's in his early 30s, will get a head coaching job? It seems like it's pretty high, right? That Shieldhouse will get a head coaching job. So if that's true, why would you go work for the Browns? I would certainly understand if he didn't want to. The other thing is, maybe, and I don't know, I've never talked to Nate Shieldhouse. Maybe Nate Shieldhouse has his own defense he wants to run. Maybe he doesn't want to work with Jim Schwartz. I have no idea. Here's what I do know. And this was reported, right? bunch of NFL media insiders had this, for the NFL Network or otherwise. The Browns flew to LA yesterday to interview Nate Scheelhaase. And then all of a sudden, we get a report that Jim Schwartz might be the next head coach of the Cleveland Browns and that he's gaining momentum. Gee, I wonder why. I wonder why that might be the case. And I want to be really clear about this as it concerns Jim Schwartz. This would be an F minus higher for the Cleveland Browns. We saw Jim Schwartz already as a head coach in the NFL. We saw it. He was the Lions head coach for the first 5 years of Matthew Stafford's career. Went to the playoffs once and had a brutal record otherwise. Terrible. Hasn't gotten a head coaching job since. And it doesn't mean that Jim Schwartz isn't a great defensive coach. He obviously is. I think lots of teams would love to have Jim Schwartz running their defense, right? It's not that he can't coach. It's that he's probably not a head coach. This is like the Saints promoting Dennis Allen. We watched him flame out. We know he's a better coordinator. Or if, like, not that they would, but the Patriots fire Mike Vrabel and promote Josh McDaniels. We've seen it already. He can't be a head coach, but he's a great coordinator. If the Browns hire Jim Schwartz, and that's what this is, he's going to be a one and done. He'll be the coach for 1 year, and they'll fire him after next season because they're not going to win. They are not going to win. If they will come in last place in the AFC North. Not a prediction, a spoiler. And I'm not trying to be a hater, but let's tell the truth. He'll get fired after 1 year. And then maybe Nate Scheelhaase will take the job. Then maybe they could get the young offensive coach that they want. Maybe. Maybe that'll be the case. And look, maybe Scheelhaase does take this job. And he says, you know, I got an opportunity here. I'll take it. And Scheelhaase becomes the offensive play caller. And who the hell knows if he'll be good or not? We have no idea. Maybe he'll be great. Maybe he'll be bad. We don't know. Could be great. Could be terrible. And it's him and Schwartz is the defensive coordinator. And if that happens, I feel like at least you can sell that if you're the Browns. You can definitely at least, I don't know if it would work, but if it's Scheelhaase head coach and runs the offense, Schwartz defensive coordinator, you can sell that. You can. Young, hotshot, offensive coach with the older, grizzled defensive coordinator who we know is really good. And maybe, you know, maybe they get Jimmy Garoppolo to be the quarterback of the team next year. Whatever. Someone that can run the system until they draft a quarterback, whether it's this year or next year. And they have 2 first-round picks this year. You can sell that. But the fact that after the interview, while they're flying home, the report comes out that Jim Schwartz is gaining momentum. I think if you're a Browns fan, honestly, like you have to be sick. You have to be. And I'm sick for you because I think something that's been lost in the last 4 decades, basically, and you see it when the Indians, now Guardians, are good. You see it when the Cavs have been awesome with LeBron when they won the championship. Cleveland's an awesome sports town. And in the 80s, when they went to 3 AFC championship games and got thwarted all 3 times by John Elway, like, that town's rocking with Marty Schottenheimer coaching the team. There's a gleam. If they could ever get out of their own way, ownership, management, that is a town that's starving for a winner. A sleeping giant of an NFL team. If it's Jim Schwartz, like, forget about it. Forget it. Cross off 2026. Cross it off the list. You're coming in last. Not a prediction, a spoiler. And if you get these young, like Udinsky, McDaniel, and Scheelhaase, all like, thanks but no thanks, at what point do you just say, it's never going to happen? It's just never going to happen until Jimmy Haslam sells the team. Homeless guy told him to draft Johnny Manziel. The litany of coaches in and out. At what point is it just never going to happen with Pilot Flying J owning the Cleveland Browns? You know who's probably laughing pretty hard right now? Kevin Stefanski. Kevin Stefanski, a month ago, was the head coach of this team. And now he's in Atlanta, working for Matt Ryan and Arthur Blank. My dude broke out of Shawshank. And now is like living in a mansion. And the Browns might hire Jim Schwartz. Now, I'll close by saying this. If the news breaks at some point in between now and us going off the air today or tonight, and we open the show with it tomorrow, and let's say the Browns hire Nate Scheelhaus and Schwartz sticks around as the DC, I will come on the air and I will say, good job by the Cleveland Browns. At least in theory. I don't know if it'll work, but it will at least make sense. So I'm willing, and I'm saying it right now, I'm willing to say, not that I will be wrong about how the process went, but I'll be willing to say, good job to them. I don't know if it'll work, but you can at least sell it to me. I'm willing to say that if it turns out to be Scheelhaus and Schwartz as a team. If it's Jim Schwartz, I don't even know what to say. I won't even know what to say to you guys. It would be horrific for the great fans of the Cleveland Browns. Just horrific. That's for tonight. We'll close the show. More Kenny's Corner coming up next segment, and we will read some of your answers on YouTube. So you're watching the show on YouTube right now, youtube.com/@thekostos. What is the biggest blunder your favorite team has ever made? In the wake of the Vikings letting Sam Darnold walk to the Seattle Seahawks, let us know. We'll read some of the best submissions coming up next. You Better You Bet on a Tuesday. Westwood One Sports with me, Nick Kostos, presented by BetMGM.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos and the crew. Presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
All right, thanks to everybody in the YouTube chat, youtube.com/@thekostos. We asked the question, what are some of the biggest blunders your favorite team has made in the wake of the Vikings? It's not just Darnold. It's got Daniel Jones, too. The Colts were awesome the first half of the season before Jones gets hurt and everything goes to hell for Indianapolis. What if Daniel Jones is the Vikings quarterback this year with how he played in Indy? I don't think Jones is as good as Darnold. What a sentence that is also. Darnold's way better than Daniel Jones. Vikings would have been a playoff team with Daniel Jones. Couple good ones here. Our buddy Mark says these Eagles drafting Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. That is a tough one. I don't know if that can rank as one of the worst ever, though. Only because, like, the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Like, they have a couple rings recently. So it's not like it stopped them from winning a ton of games, but it is really bad. Maybe it's the Eagles losing Reggie White in free agency to the Green Bay Packers. Philly's had a pretty charmed existence, the Eagles have, for the most part. Another Eagles answer. Oh, man, when this happened, what year was the Juan Castillo thing? I was working at NFL Radio when that happened, and I remember laughing very hard when Andy Reid made Juan Castillo, who was the Eagles' offensive line coach, the defensive coordinator. Was very funny. We have the Rams trading away Eric Dickerson, obviously not great. The Cowboys, the Minnesota Vikings, trading Herschel Walker, or the Cowboys trading Herschel Walker to the Minnesota Vikings is a really good one. The Dodgers trading Mike Piazza. We've got some good ones here from the YouTube chat. We appreciate everybody. youtube.com/@thekostos. Now, I'm too young to have really remembered this when this happened, but Bill Zimmerman is with us, our executive producer. My Yankees trading Jay Buhner for Ken Phelps was so bad that Seinfeld spoofed it, Bill. That's pretty bad. Now, the Yankees would go on to win a million World Series, but that one does stand out to me.
Yeah, that's got to be a rough one for you, Nick. But look, for Bears fans, for someone like me, it's an obvious one. It's been mocked across the league, but it's Mitch Trubisky over Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, my God.
You just can't, like, it just stops and ends right there.
Not just Trubisky over, but like trading up from 3 to 2. To draft Mitch Trubisky with Patrick Mahomes on the board. And I'll say this, and like, it obviously didn't turn out well for this player. They also passed on, can you even say this now? They passed on Deshaun Watson also.
Yeah. I mean, obviously he's fallen off a cliff here. Forget everything else, just on playing ability. But yeah, those first few years with Watson, that looked egregious as well.
Also, sexual deviant. Tyler Morales is with us. We'll hear from Tyler in Kenny's Corner in a moment. I think we have Tyler's microphone situation sorted out. Tyler, of the teams you root for, what stands out as one of the biggest blunders you've experienced as a sports fan, your team participating in?
Yeah, so the Reagor over Jefferson was tough, but the Eagles won a Super Bowl, so I'm going to take the Eagles out of this because, they're really good. They've been good my whole life, and then I'll take a few blunders, what they provided for me. How about the Sixers choosing Ben Simmons over Jimmy Butler? And then Jimmy Butler leading the Heat to the NBA Finals, one of the first two seasons. That one was tough because that Sixers team was really good. They were a Kawhi Leonard shot away from maybe winning the NBA Finals. So choosing Jimmy Butler over Ben Simmons and then Ben Simmons literally just not playing again was pretty tough in my Philadelphia fandom.
What about Markelle Fultz?
But yes, that's really bad. They traded up for him, and the Celtics obviously took Jason Tatum. But like Fultz was like really good and was like the consensus number one prospect. So, like, I get it. So, yeah, I mean, that is really tough, but I think Jimmy Butler is way worse because they were right there.
I try to think of what, like, mine would be as a New York sports fan. It has to be something Knicks related. Just has to be. Like, all the other teams I root for, the Giants have won, the Yankees have won. I saw the Rangers win a Stanley Cup. The Rangers, here's some hockey talk on the show. The Rangers have just started tearing it down. They traded a defenseman to the Islanders. Like, I don't know. We'll be very into hockey during the playoffs. We're very transparent about this on the show. Regular season, not so much. We'll get into it down the stretch of the regular season and into the playoffs. I think for the Knicks, God, I mean, is it Isaiah Thomas or Phil Jackson? I think it's Isaiah, because I was actually excited when they hired. Man, what a mistake that was to be excited by Phil Jackson. The Isaiah thing was bad immediately. It was like never going to be good. There was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, much of it unsavory. He was terrible. I think Isaiah is number one for the Knicks. Bill, you have another one for us here.
Yeah, I have another one. I'm not a fan of this team, but the DePaul Blue Demons, who a long time ago were a great basketball program in college, and they've been awful for years and years. They had a coach, Pat Kennedy. This is about 25 years ago, and I used to work with him about 15 years ago. It was right before I came to Sirius XM, Nick. And he used to tell a story, and it was great. And it cost him his job, basically. So there was a recruit from Chicago who was calling DePaul up almost every day saying, I want to come to DePaul. I want to come to DePaul. Will you give me a scholarship? And they kept saying, no, 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 no. And they had it down to one last scholarship. And they gave that scholarship to Amari Sawyer. And this recruit called up one more time and said, is there any chance you'd reconsider? And Pat Kennedy said to his face, no, I'm sorry, you'll have to go elsewhere. That player went to Marquette. That player is Dwayne Wade.
Wow, that's pretty good. When you said Amari, I was going to be like, oh, like Stoudemire?
No, Amari Sawyer.
Amari Sawyer, yes, Tom's great-great-great-great-grandson. Oh, man. Dwayne Wade wants to come play for you? Dwayne Wade leads Marquette to the Final Four. Trivia question, Tyler, who was Marquette's coach when they went to the Final Four with Dwayne Wade? Tyler, your microphone. Can we please? We have Tyler, is your microphone, is it good or not? Okay. But Tyler's done for the rest of the show. Tyler's in timeout. The answer is Tom Crean. I saw Tyler mouth that he knew the answer to the question. Okay. So Tyler, you did get the trivia question right. All right. Kenny Henderson is a huge Chicago sports fan. Kenny, anything stand out to you from your teams as a massive blunder?
I was going to say Trubisky over Mahomes, but we have Caleb now, so it's fine. I guess you could count this. It was Tom Thibodeau leaving in Derrick Rose in that game because I think you can make an argument he should be in the game. It's a playoff game, but they were up like 12, I want to say, and it was a minute and a half to go, and Derrick Rose on an ISO. Like, come on.
Kenny, because you didn't see any of the Jordan championships, right? Because you're too young?
Nope. No. None of the, and I would argue Derrick Rose is the number one athlete in my lifetime, and between my favorite teams, the Bears, the White Sox, and the Bulls, he's probably been the best. And Caleb's coming though.
Can I say something that might be sacrilegious here? And Derrick Rose was he's not as good at a Nick as he was a Bull, but like Derrick Rose is a great player, obviously, and seems by all accounts to be a great guy. Why did the Bulls retire his jersey?
He means so much to the city.
Oh my God.
He's a Chicago kid.
Is this, can I be serious? Like, I get it if like Chicago people hate this take. Is this what this like once proud organization has come to? Like the Michael Jordan organization that we're retiring. Like he never did anything. Like he won an MVP. Great. Like where's the playoff success to retire this guy's number? And I'm not saying he's not a great player. He was a great player. And injuries, maybe derailed what could have been a legendary career. But he's a Chicago kid. Like, should the Knicks retire Stephon Marbury's number because he's a New York kid that played for the Knicks? And Marbury's not as good as Rose at Rose's peak, and I understand that. But just, I don't get that. You know what, though? The more that the Bulls can suffer, the better it is for me as a Knicks fan who watched the Bulls beat my team when I was basically my entire childhood. You bet on this Tuesday. Nick Kostos and the crew. Kenny, let's get back into Kenny's corner here. What sound do you have for us?
Yeah, coming off the coaching talk that you just had last segment, we're going to go to a sound here. Andy Reid. So Matt Nagy didn't get the Titans job as he was rumored to be one of the top candidates there, but there's still a few openings left, and Andy Reid gave it a nice endorsement for his guy.
Before the season even started here, I knew that he wanted an opportunity to have his own show. He's been a head coach. He was coach of the year. I mean, this guy, all the things I've said about him, I still feel about him. There's nothing different there. He deserves to have a head coaching job.
Okay. If he were that good, you would have kept him around. Like you would have begged him to stay. If he were that good a coach. I mean, it's like, come on. This is like, and I always love this. It's usually celebrities that do this because like regular people would never post something like this on social media. But like you'll have like a celebrity couple that breaks up. The guy like cheats on the girl. Let's just say that or whatever. He doesn't like her or whatever. They break up. And he'll post something saying, she's the best girl in the world. She deserves happiness. I hope she finds someone great. If you really felt that strongly about her, you wouldn't have broken up. Like the fact that Reid is stumping for Nagy when like Matt Nagy walks out the door is just like, come on here, Andy. Like we all see through this, no?
Yeah, 100%. And look, I as a Chicago Bears former head coach, I actually thought Nagy was better than a lot of other Bears fans did. But the bottom line here is he didn't get the Titans job. Like you said it. They could have easily retained him. It was right there. It was just sitting there. They hired Eric Bieniemy before they let him go, and then the Chiefs website, Twitter account puts out a thanks for everything coach kind of thing. They clearly wanted to move on. They didn't like what he was doing with whatever his role was as the offensive coordinator with Reed calling plays. And it's just, yes, he's friends with Matt Nagy. We all know that. He's trying to help him out, but it's very clearly that NFL teams don't see it the same way.
And it feels like the spin on this is kind of now like Nagy wants to be a head coach or wants to be a play caller somewhere else. It's okay, we all kind of see what's going on here. Good on Andy for being a good friend, just no one believes you, buddy. Kenny, what do we got next?
So it's pretty amazing that Sam Darnold's the first quarterback from the 2018 draft to start in the Super Bowl. Keyword start, though, because take a listen to Sam Darnold here post-game, letting everyone know he's already been to the big game.
Draft class that includes Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, the first one to make it to a Super Bowl. What does that mean to you personally?
Yeah, I actually made it in 23 as well when I was in San Francisco. So, no, I'm just messing with you. No, it's unbelievable, man. Just obviously those are great players, but it's more so the team.
All right, so I said earlier in the show, guys, I meant it, but before I said it, I acknowledge that people could find it hokey, this opinion that I have, right? That I think Darnold's kind of like an American success story. And I would hope that a friend of mine or my daughter or anyone that I care about in my life goes through adversity like that to handle it the way he did. I feel like everything he says, we called Fernando Mendoza the ChatGPT quarterback. It might be Darnold as the ChatGPT quarterback. Do you think I took that too far?
You think... What, taking Darnold as a ChatGPT quarterback? I think Mendoza is a better call as the ChatGPT quarterback.
Oh, well, we have breaking news here on the show, so unfortunately, we need to halt Kenny's Corner here. I actually think we need to take a break and clear the break, otherwise the final segment of the show is going to be completely squeezed. So I'm going to tell you what the breaking news is, and then we will react to it on the other side. The Buffalo Bills are working to finalize a deal to make offensive coordinator Joe Brady their next head coach. Joe Brady will be the next head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Wow. We'll talk about it on the other side, and I'll tell you, it ain't Sean McDermott, so I like it. More details. Buffalo Bills new head coach Joe Brady coming up next to wrap up the Tuesday edition of the show.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos and the crew. Presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
BetMGM players will receive a no-sweat token to apply to any bet on the NBA. To use the token, add a bet on an NBA event to your bet slip and activate the token. If your bet loses, you'll receive bonus bets. Download the BetMGM app today. Bets for tonight to close the show, but Kenny's Corner is where coaches go to die. Basically, when Kenny Henderson starts talking on our air, like you know the expression, every time something happens, an angel gets its wings. Every time Kenny Henderson speaks, a coach gets fired or hired. Joe Brady is the next head coach of the Buffalo Bills, agreeing to terms on a 5-year deal. That news breaking literally minutes ago. So Joe Brady is the in-house replacement for the fired Sean McDermott. Couple big picture thoughts on the hire of Joe Brady. And Bill Zimmerman writes in our chat, the Browns, Cardinals, and Raiders are the 3 remaining vacancies. My guess is Clint Kubiak to the Raiders, Mike LaFleur to the Cardinals, and Jim Schwartz Browns will be my guess as to how it turns out. I can be wrong. We will find out. We may find out by tomorrow. I think we might see all these vacancies filled in short order. Joe Brady's the next head coach of the Bills. The answer to the question, who made this hire, is not Terry Pegula, the owner. It's not Brandon Beane, the general manager. The answer as to who made this hire is Josh Allen. Do you think that the news last week that Josh Allen was sitting in on these interviews and being promoted by all the NFL insiders as this is a great thing that they're doing this, whether you agree with it or not, like the Bills clearly wanted this out there, that Allen was sitting in on the interviews, and they clearly wanted it reported in a positive way because they want Josh Allen to make this hire and to co-sign this hire. So if Josh Allen tells Brandon Beane and Terry Pegula, I don't want Joe Brady to be the coach of the team, do you think there's any chance Joe Brady's the coach of the team? 0%. Like, I am sure Josh Allen said, I want Joe Brady to coach the team. And then Terry Pegula and Brandon Beane said, yes, sir, Mr. Allen, whatever you want. So Joe Brady's coaching the team, and he clearly has the blessing of his quarterback, Josh Allen. And I told you guys last week, I thought it never made sense to me that the Bills would hire Brian Daboll. Like, and the Anthony Lynn thing is just like, Anthony Lynn is never going to get another head coaching job, and I'm not saying he's not a good man or he can't coach. He was a terrible head coach with the Chargers. He will not get another job. He was never being considered for this. Like, period. And hiring Daboll would have made no sense because the Bills have completely reshaped their offense from when Daboll was there because it wasn't working anymore. And Brady's the guy that kind of changed it, right? When the Bills lost that Monday night game a couple years ago to Denver, and Sean McDermott was feeling the heat, and then he fired Ken Dorsey, and Dorsey was the scapegoat, and Brady got promoted. They kind of morphed the offense into more of a run-first scheme, right? And whether or not you like that scheme, that's what the Bills are going to be moving forward. Like, that's what it's going to be. Now, I don't know who the defensive coordinator is going to be. Maybe he retains Bobby Babich, who is the DC with Sean McDermott. We will see. Babich is a pretty respected defensive coach around the league. My guess is that you will see Buffalo start to, at the very least, morph their defensive scheme a little bit away from the body types preferred by former head coach Sean McDermott. But those are questions we don't have the answers to just yet. I need to remain consistent, though, and we'll do more on this on the show tomorrow. I've limited time now to get into this. I'll remain consistent. In the same way, I came on these airwaves and said, I don't care who the Ravens hire. As long as it's not John Harbaugh, I will like it. Because I think we know that the Ravens aren't winning a Super Bowl with Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson. So they hired Jesse Minter. I come on the air and I tell you I like the hire. Joe Brady is not Sean McDermott. And that's a positive. Because I think we have learned that Sean McDermott and Josh Allen, that pairing was not going to win. So given that it's someone not Sean McDermott, I have to level with everybody. I have to remain consistent. I like the hire. I like it because it's not Sean McDermott. And just like I said to end last week, I'm going to like the Baltimore Ravens more next year with a new head coach than I did this year with John Harbaugh. I will like the Bills way more next year in the futures market to win a championship than I did this past year with Sean McDermott as the head coach. Now, I hope that this move to promote Brady, I hope that it doesn't mean that the Bills are okay kind of with the offensive structure that they've had. And I don't think it does mean that. They tried to trade for Jalen Waddle. That was pretty widely reported. Like, you can't go into next year with this group of receivers again. You can't do it. Like, Cook's a great running back, and Ty Johnson and Ray Davis are good, and Kincaid and Knox are good. Pretty good offensive line. You have to get a number one receiver. I'd be on the phone with Howie Roseman trying to get A.J. Brown if I'm the Buffalo Bills. You got to get a number one receiver. And we'll see who the defensive coordinator and the defensive play caller is going to be. But look. It's not Sean McDermott. And to me, that's a positive for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. And Bills fans, I would be excited if I were you. And I'm not just saying that. I think this is a good day for the Buffalo Bills franchise. Let's get to the bets for tonight to close the show. More on the Bills coming up tomorrow. Kenny, please drop the dope-ass beat. Okay. Nebraska is at Michigan tonight. Nebraska's undefeated, and Michigan's a 10.5-point home favorite. Michigan got bet up from the open. Nebraska's starting to get bet a little bit now. I'll take a piece of Nebraska tonight. I think Michigan will win the game. Small bet for me on the Cornhuskers, plus 10.5. Not a big bet, small bet. I'm betting responsibly here. I'm betting Nebraska plus the points. I do like Purdue on the road at Indiana. And Indiana's getting bet. This was 5.5. We're now down to Purdue 4.5. I think I'll end up with a bet on Purdue or have Purdue in a money line parlay. In the NBA, this is the first game for the Bucks without Giannis with his most recent injury. Milwaukee is on the road tonight, and it's not going to be a bet that's going to make anybody feel good. But Milwaukee tonight, I want to make sure I have the right number here. Milwaukee is 10.5 on the road at the Philadelphia 76ers. I'll take the Milwaukee Bucks tonight in game one without Giannis to keep the game close against Philadelphia. Tyler in the chat, let me know if you got any college basketball bets for tonight on the games that we talked about or otherwise. So for me, small bet on Nebraska. I'm going to find a way to play Purdue, even with Purdue coming off a couple consecutive losses, and Giannis and the Bucks plus 10.5 on the road at the Philadelphia 76ers. Man, I kind of love this Joe Brady hire for Buffalo. Brady's star had fallen a little bit. He was the LSU offensive coordinator with Burrow when they won the national championship, and then doesn't do great with Matt Rule in Carolina. Man, I like this a lot for Buffalo. I'd love for them to retain Bobby Babich, maybe a new defensive scheme than they ran with McDermott, and I think the Bills can cook with gas next season. Good day. Great day for the Buffalo Bills. Catch you tomorrow on a Wednesday here on You Better You Bet. Until then, I'm Nick Kostos wishing you minimal sweats, winning bets, the absolute very best of luck. Bleck and Abdallah coming up next on Westwood One Sports.